Just a couple of days after that flooding tore through central Texas, the destruction that you've seen left behind is still hard to really comprehend. So far, at least 104 people, have lost their lives, including 27 of those kid campers and counselors. It's a summer camp for girls where they were staying. 11 people are still missing. This is Breaking the News. I'm Jana Shortle. So as these recovery efforts go on, there's been allegations and misinformation flying around about how the flash floods became so deadly. So Kent took a closer look at what went wrong from what we know and what we can learn so far from what happened.
With search and rescue efforts still underway and the threat of even more rain still on the horizon, many in Central Texas are also trying to figure out how such wide-ranging death and devastation caught so many off guard.
Everyone here, if we could have warned them, we would have done so. And we didn't even have a warning.
The mayor of Kerrville, Texas told CNN when he checked at about 8 p.m. on July 3rd, he hadn't received a flood warning or notification.
I have to be honest, meteorologists rely on weather models. The models don't do a great job yet predicting extreme weather events.
But former CARE meteorologist Paul Douglas says the National Weather Service did issue a series of escalating watches and warnings when the threat became clear.
It's easy to point a finger of blame at the Weather Service. I think they did everything right.
According to Homeland Security, warnings about flooding risks north and west of San Antonio, including Kerrville, began just after 6 p.m. on July 3rd. By 1:14 a.m. on the 4th of July, it issued a considerable warning, which triggered alerts on phones and NOAA weather radios. Then, at 4:03 a.m., it was upgraded to a flash flood emergency.
When you hear a flood emergency, that means potentially life-threatening flooding is already underway. Take action now. I think where things broke down was on the ground, translating that flood emergency into action. Let's move people now.
This 30-minute time-lapse video of the flooding that hit another Central Texas river later on Friday shows why that type of coordination was so difficult.
This biblical flood hit late at night. People were asleep. Sketchy cell phone service throughout the hill country of Texas. There was no infrastructure, no warning system on the ground. There were no sirens blaring.
He says that's something that might change in the aftermath of this kind of devastation.
Problem is, it's a big area, hundreds of thousands of square miles. You need hundreds of sirens and special rain gauges. And that costs money.
But even if it happens, he says it will still take everyone to take action when it matters.
What some call warning fatigue. I mean, they're always getting flood warnings for that part of Texas. It's prone to flooding. People, after a while, well, it's just, we get warnings all the time, and it becomes noise.
Now, Minnesotans might not face the same type of flash flooding risks, but we can all certainly relate to warning fatigue, as he says, when it comes to severe storms and tornadoes. So how do we protect ourselves when it really matters? Paul told me today that the best life insurance is still a NOAA weather radio. They're typically less than $50. You can set them just to the county you live in, so they won't wake you up in the middle of the night for just anything, but they'll notify you when it can be deadly, Jana.
I got to be honest, I didn't even think you could still get those radios. So that's good news, something that we can all learn from. And echoing what Paul's saying, the National Weather Service even staffed up in San Antonio. They had 5 people on staff instead of 2. I keep seeing misinformation online, but they were staffed.
Yep, and just because that's still a legitimate concern, right? The staffing, but someone with the employees union today said, like you said, they had the staffing. This was just something that hit, and the timing and all those other factors struck.
All right, prayers to Texas. Hope they get all the help they need. Thanks, Kit. Be right back.